More reaction now to the fallout from the wrestling match the president is having with the Senate Majority Leader. We have Lena Esptein, U.S. candidate for Senate in Michigan, and the former Trump 2016 campaign chair, and Democratic strategist David Mercer. Good to see both of you. Lena and David, where do we begin with this? Lena, I'm going to start with you. Does it seem to you, because this is how it seems to me, that President Trump is attacking Republicans more than Democrats?
Not at all. In fact, President Trump campaigned on the abandonment of political correctness. He promised to hold people accountable for their statements and their actions. Mitch McConnell and other members of the Senate had almost 7 years to prepare for health care repeal and replace that he himself campaigned on. This is a president that's holding people accountable. When Mitch McConnell says that Donald Trump is a novice, people across the state of Michigan and this country elected somebody who was outside of the political fray, who would call things exactly as he's seeing them. And right now, he's seeing an ineffective governing body incapable of passing measured, effective health care reform.
And David, next month, so 12 working days away, that's all Congress has, if we look at the calendar here, to raise the debt ceiling so the lights don't go out in Washington, D.C. You'd think they can prevent a government shutdown here?
I think they have to, and we have seen alarms that it might not happen in prior years. I don't think it bodes well for Republicans having the House majority, having the Senate majority, and a Republican president to not be able to allow for the full functioning of the government. To get on with further budget reconciliation, we also know on Trump's agenda are tax cuts, a infrastructure bill, if they ever come to complete draft of it. And given what we just saw with the Trump Care failure, I don't think they want to lead off with not being able to meet a debt ceiling in order to provide the services and the functions of government that we all come to expect, and that elected officials were elected to make sure it does not happen.
Lena, the infighting among Republicans, is that what is kind of stalling, stopping, delaying, I don't know the right word here, the Trump agenda, primarily health care reform and tax reform?
I believe that is going on. I think it is high time for people to come together as a Republican Party, but certainly as an overall governing body. I hold Democrats and Republicans accountable. This is a president that is furthering promises made that he will always be the president in history. Promises made, promises kept in terms of his efforts to deliver to the American people. He is investing in infrastructure reform. He is committed to tax reform and health care reform. It's very important that he be successful. A successful American president leads to a successful America, regardless of ideological differences.
If I might, Lauren, just add to that. Look, we all want a successful president in hopes that that, of course, directly impacts having a successful economy, a growing economy, staying out of conflicts, etc. But what we've seen are a host of broken promises here.
Right.
And it does not help when the president, in speaking of unity, is going to, in public, defame the Senate Majority Leader who is carrying the ball. Now, he may not have scored a touchdown on Trump Care, but there are other plays to run for tax cuts, infrastructure, and whatever.
Right.
And to do that publicly does not send a good message to team spirit to get things done on behalf of the American public.
And maybe he should have left it at just that private phone call.
Exactly.
But he shoots from the hip, and I guess we have to accept that at this point. But getting health care done, and we've seen premiums for big companies going up. It's going to be $14,000 for them to insure one employee next year. Tax reform. If we don't get this stuff done, there's no way we're going to grow the economy 3% and get back on track. So the agenda is so important right now. I want you guys and our viewers to look at this picture that the Amazon CEO, Jeff Bezos, just posted on social media. It's a picture of him at the Amazon headquarters in Seattle with Defense Secretary Mattis. As we're talking about North Korea, Lena, why do you think Mattis would be at Amazon today?
That's a great question. I would like to ask him that.
David, any idea?
Well, he should be consulting with the president and vice versa. I would think shots in the Situation Room with deliberations going on, with the Secretary of State doing the same, especially given his visit opposite North Korea, etc., that they should be huddled as opposed to spread all apart to provide consensus and in thwarting the apparent threat that North Korea is posing.
Well, we do know that
I would respectfully disagree with what David said. And I think that one thing that the media has been guilty of ever since President Trump took office is making assumptions about somebody's actions, such as Mattis. I think it's very important with the optics of this to wait and see and hear from him directly about what his intentions were today.
He was briefed. He had a security briefing with Vice President Mike Pence, Chief of Staff Kelly, and the National Security Advisor McMaster. Lena Esptein, Trump campaign chair for Michigan, and Democratic strategist David Mercer. Thank you.